Everyone wanted the Miami Heat to significantly boost their offense over the offseason. Well, they have done just that. And yet, almost no one is talking about it, largely because superstar acquisitions make the NBA go round, but also because it's pretty clear that Norman Powell remains wildly underrated. Conventional offseason critiques gravitate toward the biggest names. Understandably so. The Heat, in particular, are among the association's foremost star chasers. Their success or failure is so often boiled down to whether they land the next big fish. But Miami's summer is concrete proof that it doesn't need another star to win the offseason, even if landing that star is the ultimate goal. Norman Powell is going to noticeably boost the Heat's offense. The Heat finished last season inside the bottom 10 of points scored per possession and were number 18 in overall effective field goal percentage, which is a combined measure of 2-point and 3-point efficiency. Believe it or not, though, this actually understates the degree to which they struggled. Many of their offensive vitals were much worse with Jimmy Butler off the floor. Moving him provided needed clarity on their future, but it also leaned into a depth chart that couldn't consistently generate rim pressure or trips to the foul line without him. Powell is going to help fill those gaps. He averaged just over 6 shot attempts at the rim per 100 possessions last season, according to PBP stats. Kel'el Ware and Jamie Jaquez Jr. are the only players from the Heat's regular rotation who averaged more. Throughout his career, Powell has also demonstrated an underappreciated ability to draw fouls. Just last year, he generated free throws on around 16% of his 2-point attempts. Andrew Wiggins was the only Miami player to match that mark while logging at least 1,200 minutes. Miami's other issues will be helped by Norman Powell, too. Skeptics will point out that the Heat have done little to fix the point guard position with established upgrades. Powell is not going to make plays for others the way that adding another version of Tyler Herro or an actual floor general would. Still, the off-ball shooting and movement he delivers will help paper over that void. Both he and Herro allow Miami to experiment heavily with Pelle Larsson and Kasparas Giacchionis on the ball. And while he isn't much of a table setter for others, Powell noticeably juices up the Heat's self-creation. He just averaged 8.31 unassisted points per 100 possessions. That is more than everyone else on the Heat except for, you guessed it, Mr. Tyler Herro. Perhaps most critically, Powell's effectiveness isn't predicated on playing alongside high-profile names 100% of the time. He shot 50% on twos and 43.5% on threes in the minutes he played without both James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. Granted, Powell did see his efficiency at the rim drop, from 75+% with both to 60-ish% with neither. But he offset that with his three-point volume and by upping his foul rate even further. Yes, off-season moves from other teams grab more headlines. But Powell's arrival in Miami will end up being one of the most impactful additions of the entire summer. And it's one the Heat pulled off without giving up anyone who factored into their immediate or long-term plans. A former Miami Heat employee was charged with stealing hundreds of pieces of memorabilia and selling it online, including a jersey worn by LeBron James in the National Basketball Association's championship series that later sold for nearly $4 million at auction. Federal prosecutors on Tuesday said Marcos Thomas Perez, who worked as a security guard for the Heat and the NBA from 2016 to 2025, took more than 400 game jerseys and other items from a secured equipment room that held memorabilia that the organization planned to put in a future museum devoted to the team. Prosecutors said Perez sold more than 100 items to online brokers for about $2 million, often for prices that were well below their market value. Those items included the used LeBron James jersey, which Perez sold for $100,000 and later sold at a Sotheby's auction for $3.7 million. Law enforcement searched his home on April 3rd and seized almost 300 additional jerseys and other items that had been stolen. Perez, 62, a retired veteran of the Miami Police Department, made an initial appearance in federal court in Miami on Tuesday, prosecutors said. He was charged with transportation of stolen goods and faces as much as 10 years in prison if convicted. An attorney for Perez couldn't be immediately identified, and a representative for the Heat didn't immediately return a call seeking comment. In March, a former employee of the Augusta National Golf Club in Georgia, which hosts the annual Masters tournament, was sentenced to 1 year in prison after admitting to stealing Masters golf tournament merchandise and selling it for millions of dollars to online brokers over about 13 years. James won 2 titles with the Heat in 2012 and 2013 during his 4 seasons with the club. The case is U.S. v. Perez, 25 CR 20346, U.S. District Court, Southern District of Florida. Even though the Miami Heat have missed out on their last few pursuits for a star player, that doesn't mean they're going to quit the game. In fact, if one recent update holds true, the Heat's next superstar trade target is as clear as it gets. Enter Trae Young. According to a recent report, Young remains disappointed in the fact that the Atlanta Hawks have yet to offer him a contract extension so far this offseason. In anticipation of the final year in his contract, Young is naturally eligible for an extension. At least thus far, the Hawks haven't pushed for one. Young believes it's something that should be done and out of the way. Currently eligible for a 4-year, $229 million contract extension with the Hawks, it doesn't appear as if one is close. At this stage of the offseason, you can't help but wonder if an extension is coming at all, or if Young would accept anything less than the max extension. That could be music to the Heat's ears. In desperate need of a superstar player to shake free from their current situation, Young could be an intriguing potential target for Miami. Young checks a lot of the boxes for the Heat. In a vacuum, Young does fit a lot of what the Heat are missing. Young is more of the natural point guard that the Heat doesn't currently have on their roster and would be an excellent fit next to Bam Adebayo. Even though he's somewhat of a polarizing star player at this point in his career, he does have some of that alpha trait the Heat has desperately missed since trading Jimmy Butler. Young has shown flashes of being that level of superstar in some of the biggest playoff moments of his career, too. Young has struggled on that front over the past couple of seasons, but you can't help but wonder how much the lack of a strong supporting cast played in that. On the Heat, you'd imagine Young would be put in the best position to succeed. He'd be playing for the best coach, Erik Spoelstra, of his playing career thus far, and would be playing alongside the best supporting player, Bam, of his career too. At the very least, it'd be an intriguing next chapter of Young's career. For the Heat, they'd get their alpha lead guard to build around next to Bam, and a star that would immediately inject some fresh excitement around this fan base. Young may not be on the trade market right now, but there appears to be a growing chance that could change within the next 12 months. And if that does end up happening, you can bet the Heat will be involved one way or another.